That the phrase the devil's advocate stems from a medieval job title known as advocatus diaboli. The person charged with coming up with counter arguments when a priest was nominated for canonization. Did you know? Did you know that Typhoid Mary was the first asymptomatic carrier of the disease typhoid? In her job as a cook, she infected 51 people. She was forcibly isolated for 3 years and released on the promise that she didn't go back to cooking. Did you know? Did you know that the phrase from time immemorial has specific legal meaning in British history, or British law rather? It starts on July 6, 1189, when King Richard I ascended the throne. Did you know? Did you know that the correlates of war projects defines war as any battlefield conflict in which there are 1,000 fatalities? What this simply means is that any battlefield conflict in which there are less than 1,000 fatalities does not qualify as a war. Therefore, the Falkland War on April 2nd, 1982 between Argentina and Britain that recorded 907 fatalities does not qualify as a war. Conversely, the football war between El Salvador and Honduras on July 14th, 1969, in which 2,000 fatalities were recorded, does qualify as a war. Did you know? Did you know that the term quarantine actually came from a Latin word quarantine journey? It means the 40-day period ships were required to stay at Port Venice, Italy during the Black Death in 1346-1353. Did you know? Did you know that Vladimir Komarov was the first person to die on a space mission? That was on April 23rd, 1967. He was on board Soyuz 1. Did you know? Did you know that the term box office actually dates back to Shakespearean and Elizabethan times, where theater buses were sold from an office location in front of venues? Did you know? Did you know that at the 1968 Summer Olympics in Mexico City, Hans-Gunnar Ligenwald became the first athlete to be disqualified from the Olympics for drug use after anti-doping regulations were instituted or were introduced by the IOC in 1967? Did you know? Did you know that chainsaws were originally used to aid childbirth as opposed to falling trees? The French medical doctor Jean-René Sigor used it in delivering babies that were stuck in the birth canal when cesarean section was considered unsafe due to the high risk of infection, before modern medical advancement in antibiotics, anesthesia, hygiene practices like hand washing. Jean-René Sigor performed the first Jiggly operation, otherwise known as symphysiotomy, a surgical procedure in which the cartilage of the pubic symphysis is divided to widen the pelvis, allowing for childbirth. I'm Obila Kaba Ikechukwu. Have a nice day.